Yeah, but over. Still. Okay, we'll start. So each one gets a matana. Okay. Show. I'm sorry? Yeah. Okay. Rabbi said at the end of this week's parsha, it speaks about the menorahs. Look what it says there. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. Okay, that's a pretty familiar pasuk. Tzav es b'nei Yisrael v'yikchu elecha shemen zayit tzach kasis lamaor lehalos ner tamid. The oil that's needed to make to light the menorah. Where do you light it? Michutz leparoches haedus, outside the paroches, which is a curtain. Ha'edus, we'll see what that means. Bo'el moed, yarochas ha'aron me'erev ad boker lifnei Hashem, tamid chukas olam l'doi roi seichem. Rashi wants to know, what does it mean, paroches ha'edus? The curtain of testimony, or the mechitza of testimony. What do you mean? So says Rashi, paroches ha'edus, shelifnei ha'aron, the paroches from our angle. We don't see the aron, because the aron's in Kodesh Kodashim. And the Heichal, the Kohanim go in freely. So the paroches is before the Aron. It's followed by the Aron. Shehu, the Aron, is called Edus. Like it says, Bo'el moed mechutz ha'paroches asher ala Edus yachus ha'aron. So meaning, it's the paroches, which is adjacent to the Aron, and the Aron has inside the Torah, which is called Edus. Okay. I want to focus on Rashi's second shot. V'rabasenu darshu. No, it's the word Edus is not referring to the Aron, but rather al ner ma'aravi. Ner ma'aravi was the most western candle closest to the curtain. What happened there? A mini Nes Chanukah every night. Shuhu edus l'chol b'ei olam she'ashchina shor b'Yisrael. It's a testimony. Edus means a testimony to the whole world that the Shechina dwells amongst Am Yisrael. Shenoisa b'Hashem kimidas chavrusea. It had the quantity of oil like the other candles did. Umimen hayam atchila, it was the first one to light. Ubayam asema was the last one to be extinguished, meaning it went beyond. Went beyond what the other ones did. So what does it mean? Edus? Edus is referring to the Nes of Ner Ma'aravi that was lighting the whole night beyond its quantity of oil, and that's a testimony of Shechina Shor B'Yisrael. No, the tzibur was given already in Parshas Truma.
Alright, so why is it repeating it?
Okay, exactly like that.
Rashi says in Parshas Truma it wasn't a tzibur, the tzibur is here.
The tzibur is here, and on
That was
Parshas.
just description. That was-
Okay, fine. What's the obvious question to ask in this Rashi? What does it have to do with the paroches? The curtain has to do with the menorah? What's the shaykhs between the curtain and the menorah? The curtain, I understand, is blocking us to see the Aron. No. From our perspective, and the Aron would stick out through the paroches, fine, the body. But like, there's a nest with the menorah, so why is the nest of the menorah a tribute to the paroches? Ma'akesha, right? That's what the Rambam is going to ask. Rabbi Yoel Mizrahi asks. Paroches ha'edus v'rabotenu darshu al ner ma'aravi hiksha re'em is Rabbi Yoel Mizrahi. Interesting to know that when the Rambam says Medrash, it does not necessarily exclude Gemara. Medrash could be also Gemara. This is a Gemara, and he calls it Medrash. The paroches has nothing to do with the menorah. So why the miracle of the menorah is an adjective to the paroches? So answers the Maralva and Zakasha. And we're seeing his second answer now. The Kevan da Torah Amra Shetiyah Menorah Smuch ala Paroches. Since the Torah said that the menorah should be located close to the Paroches, Kedichsiv Michutz Paroches, V'dashinam B'Toras Kohanim Shetiyah Menorah Smuch ala Paroches Yoter Mima Sheyismuch ala Pesach. Meaning, in the Mishkan, the menorah should be closer to the side of the curtain than to the other side. You know, like half court in football, it's closer to that, to the goalie on one side. Okay. Shapir ikra Parachas Eidus. Shareim Yachad. They're cousins. The Parachas and the menorah are cousins. Maybe not first cousins. First cousin once removed. There's some kind of shaykhs there. Because you're supposed to situate, is that the word in English? To situate? Yeah. To put it? Oh. You're supposed to situate the menorah nearby the Parachas. So therefore the miracle that happens in the menorah could be a tribute to the Parachas. Obviously the Rav means more than just location. Because at the end, why is it not called menorah Sa'idus? Why does it have to be a tribute to something beyond itself? The miracle happened with the Ner Ma'aravi. Why is the miracle of Ner Ma'aravi adding an adjective to the Parachas? Says the Maral, because the menorah and the Parachas have some kind of bilateral relationship. That the menorah is closer to this side than to that side. Mazeh. Was. Ma. What does the Maral mean? How come this miracle is a tribute to the Parachas? Yes.
That's the Ma'aravi side, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Ner Ma'aravi
is the closest to the Parachas. Yeah, it's close. It's not touching it. But it's closer to that side than to the other side. Makatupuma. Remember in Hebrew when there's a good kasha, you start with the first and the last word are always the same. Ma katupo ma. Ech אפשר להבין את זה? איך. זה כזה. נועד סופו בתחילתו. So there's something here, I'm telling you, Jewish to the core. You're not allowed to dance in sphere, right? So okay, so we'll dance with our heart. I think I know what the Maral is referring to. I think. Why this specificness of the menorah, the Ner Ma'aravi, is somehow such, it shows that the Shechina shall be Yisrael, and that testimony is attached to the Parachas, to the degree that it's called Parachas Ha'edus. Ma Keshem. That's question number one. I want to ask question number two. Why is the menorah the one to say this testimony out of all vessels in the Mishkan? Why was the menorah chosen to say Eidus L'Boy Olam Shashchina Shel B'Yisrael? Now you could say, I don't know, wherever you put it. You put it. If it would be a different vessel, you ask me to get that vessel. Now it's a Torah. All right, but we're not speaking about Torah here. We're speaking about Ner Ma'aravi. Okay, what is it? Now, first, there's a yesod that the Maral says. There's always a correlation, a connection between a witness and his testimony. Always. First of all, and any witness, he was there, he saw it. That makes him already part of it. If you're with it, you're part of it. Nachon? But the Maral says in yesod, I can tell it to you orally. It appears on the sheet. Give a look in Box Dalet. Reuven B'chor Yisrael Bnei Reuven Chanoch Mishpachat HaChanuchi. Hapulei, you add the letters Hey and Yud. Says Rashi, why are you adding the letters Hey and Yud? Remember the Rashi? Because the Egyptians were saying, what's this lineage stuff? We know who are the children of who? Maybe the Mitzvah were involved. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu inserted his initials, the Hey and the Yud, and Hashem, and he's adding it to the names. Nachon, Richard. That's what Rashi says. Ask the Maral, why 2 letters? 1 letter is not enough? I might have got this name. You know what he answers? Because these 2 letters have to do with the shidduch of the Ish and Isha. You have the Yud by Ish and the Hey by Isha. It's there. It belongs to this parsha. And if you're there, you're a witness. You see, that's what he says in Max Hey. Give a look. Hey mitzad zeh, v'had lo yispeak ba'ot echad min Hashem levad, how come 1 letter is not enough? Mishum Yud Kei natan HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'ish ve'isha. היוד באיש וההי באישה. ולפיכך זה השם יוד קי מעיד עליהם שהם בני אבויסם. כלומר, אותו השם שהוא בזיווג איש ואישה מעיד על הבנים שהם בני אבויסם. And look what he adds, שמישהו אצל העניין הוא יכול להעיד. You see what's underlined? See, the Maral underlined it. You see? Whoever's there, if you're there, you can be mine. You're there anyway. Why is the menorah there? So I mean, to say an edus, you have to have a shaykhis to your testimony. What is the intrinsic shaykhis between this and that? Now, first I want to tell you again, if this share today, we're going to learn today, if you're going to tell me at the end of the share it's not worth £1,000, So I'll give you 100 cash. I promise you. I have like 200 pounds in my pocket. It's okay. Well, if everybody said okay, I don't know. I could sponsor too. Okay. So that's question number 2. Why, from all the kelim, the menorah was chosen to proclaim Shechina Shel Yisrael? Why the menorah? Okay. Fine. Okay, what we say? So we have meanwhile 2 kashas here, right? What's question number 1? Okay, what's question number 1? Not everybody at once. What's question number 1? Why is the miracle of Ner Ma'aravi that has to do with the menorah a tribute to the Parachas? So the Maral asked that. The Maral answered because they're close to each other. They stand near each other. What does that mean? That's question number 1. Question number 2, why is the menorah the vessel to say the testimony Shechina Shel Yisrael more than the Mizbeach, more than the Aron, more than anyone else? Maaseh. That's question number 2. Okay. So everybody said, let's learn in Bak Svav, a medrash that we learned many times throughout the years. I have a bunch of stories with this medrash, but let's see it again. It's the beginning of Pashas Truma. The medrash, the Shmos Rabbah. V'yesh lecha mekach shemishemocho nimkar imoy. Sometimes the seller comes along with the purchase. You hear Yudah. You sell a lulav, you come along with a lulav and esrog. Ba'im yachad. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael, machalti lechem Torasi, I sold you my Torah, kibyochol, so to speak, nimkarti ima, I'm coming along. Mashal Malach, a parable to a king, Sha'al Bas Yechida, that he had one and only daughter. Ba echad min ha-malachim, came another young king from a different country, unetala, and married her. Bikesh leilach lo la'artza v'lito le'ishto. After the wedding or the Sheva Brachas, he said, I want to go back to my home with my newlywed wife. Amalo, so the father told the son-in-law, Biti shenatati l'cha yechidisi, the daughter that I gave over to you, she's my only one, lifrosh mimena, to separate from her, eini yochel. I can't. Lo malacha al titla, to tell you don't take her, leave her here, also eini yochel. She's yours. Please do for me the following favor. Wherever you go, kiton echad, which means a small room, aseli she'adur etzlechem. She'eni yachol lahaniach et biti. I cannot forsake my daughter. I guess if the shver is a Kodesh Baruch Hu, people would agree to such kind of solution. A regular shver, I don't know if the young couple will be so happy to hear. Wherever you go, I'll be right next door. Toda rabba. Right? Okay? Kach amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu liYisrael, Natat lechem es haTorah, לפרוש ממנה איני יכול. לומר לכם אל תתלוה, איני יכול. אלא בכל מקום שאתם הולכים, בית אחד אסור לי שידור בתוכו, שנאמר לי ואסור לי מקדש. Beautiful medrash. Rabbi said, but I think it's the only place that I know of, and I looked it up a little bit, I didn't find that it's the giving over the Torah, we're counting now the days to give Torah, it's called the Mechira. I sold you my Torah. Machat lechem Torah, what? Lekach Torah nasati lechem.
Yeah, but why is it called a lekach?
Lekach doesn't mean a Kenyan.
Mikach, yeah, it's Lashon Lekach.
Lekach.
Lekach, Lashon.
No idea. Mechira. Look, in the Medrash itself later on, it says, what's underlined again in the Medrash, Nasati lachem. We say always, Noisin Torah, we don't say Moicher Torah. It's a unique expression. Why Dafke here, that giving over the Torah is called the Mechira? That's question number, let's call the question number 3. I would like to add in this question, because when I went over the Medrash again, I noticed, I'm sure maybe we spoke about it, in the Mashal, the old king, who does it represent? The father? Of Kodesh Baruch Hu. The daughter? Torah. And the young king? Am Yisrael. What role does it play that these two men are kings? It could be Stam, a father-in-law, a son-in-law. A regular father-in-law tells his regular son-in-law, does it play any role in the Nimshal that in the Mashal these two men are kings? Or stam, always you say king, so here we said king here as well. Is there something here more than what is it? You know, today we had a question in Halacha because we had like little flags all over where we daven. The British flag has a cross on it.
Yeah.
Is that? Could you daven there?
It's immaculate and Jewish.
I'm sorry.
It's immaculate and Jewish.
Could you daven there?
There's three crosses. It's not a proper cross.
What?
It's not a proper cross.
It's not there for religion.
It is. It is. It looks. Anyway, I called up the Rabbanim. They all said it's okay because it's not a symbolism of the Zohar. It's a nationality. That's what they said. Okay. Anyway, I'm called punning.
By them being kings, it's more likely that
Oh, okay. What's the one person? We're back to the question. Why are we mentioning that they're kings? Yes.
in the Nimshal, so the daughter is the Torah. If you want the gift to be something spectacular, then it comes from a high place.
Okay. So, Mikhail talking to us. You want to say it came from a very high place. Beseder, Chabre. Is there any left over? Is there any? We'll share. Okay. So everybody say, I'm calling that all. You know what? I'm calling all that question number 3. Meaning focusing on the Medrash. Why here, whatever the idea of the Medrash is, the terminology used is the Torah is being sold, and the seller's coming along. It's not. You could find it here and there, but it's not the normal way to say it. Even this Medrash itself later on said, "Natati lechem es haTorah."
Last definition was not I will buy.
That's right. So that's the question. Okay, Chavos. So, Adam Manning, what role does it play that the 2 men in the mashal are kings? What role does that play in the nimshal? It could be it's not a father-in-law, son-in-law. It says Rashi. Look, it says Ba'echad Mamlochim. It says so. That's one way. I don't know. Maybe there's other ways, but that's one way. The second line in the box. Ba'echad Mamlochim. Okay, Rabbi Yisai. Now let's go into this other nakuda, something also unique that the Torah is called here the daughter of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a bat. The Baal explains that in Derech Chaim. Now we're on page 2 now. On page 2 in Bak Zayin. Masha Torah nikras bas. Why is that so? Ki habat hi tolada min ha'av. A daughter is an offspring from the father. Uba mimenu, she comes from him. Kach HaTorah hotzia Hashem Yisborach lepoal lesader ota. Because Baruch Hu brought it out and arranged it. Kifi shabat ba mi'atzmo shel ha'av. Like the bat comes from the etzem of the father. Kach HaTorah gamken. לא כמו שיש סורבים, כי השם יסבוך נתן התורה לאדם לפי מה שאומרים לאדם בלבד. שאם כן, לא הייתה התורה סיבה ודרך להביא את האדם להיות עם השם יסבוך. I'm saying a gewaltige insight here. A lot of people will tell you, you know what's about Torah? It's a divine system, the best system made by God for people. But it's for people. It's the best way for people to live. It's the best way to organize a community, a society, but at the end of the day, it's nothing about God. It's about how people should function with each other in the best way. It's like an adult makes a toy for a 3-year-old. He's not going to get connected to this kid through this toy because the toy wasn't made for him. The toy was made for the 3-year-old. He's already an adult. So he thought about what would be interesting for a 3-year-old. If that's how you look at Torah, how could Torah be a bridge to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It was made for man, and it's for man. V'zeh. Nine, it's a law system of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Havana, and so to speak. It's coming from the etzem of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not just because it's good for people. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu lowered his standards and did something great for people, but it really has nothing to do with him, the etzem. It's coming from him. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chokhmah. Not only that it's good for us, it's him. And that's what the word bas is bringing out. Bat means comes from the kishkas of the father, so to speak. Yeah, of course, by Kodesh Baruch it's just a nimshal. It's coming from him. It's him. It's an extension of him. A daughter is an extension of her father. That's what we want to say when the Chazal called the Torah bat. It's coming to say it's not only because it's good for people. It is. It's the best system that people can live in. True. But it's much more than that. It's coming from him, and it's his chokhmah as well. It's something between us and Hashem. It's coming from him, and it reaches us. And if you get involved in it, you'll reach him. But if HaKadosh Baruch Hu did something which is not about him, but it's about us, how will that connect you to him? It's a very gewaldige nekuda, the Maral says again. He says, that's what Chazal called the Torah bat. To say it's an extension of him. Not only that it's good for us, which is true. It's good for us, but that's not the nekuda. Why bat more than ben? So that's in Baksechet, Rabbi say. You'll see the Maral speaks about that there's a special relationship between a daughter and son. You see, he calls it baskol. Why do we call it baskol? Why not benkol? Did you ever wonder about that? I heard a heavenly voice, baskol. Why not benkol?
Torah's plus.
No. It's not talking about Torah. Baskol is not talking about Torah. So look what the Maral says in the bottom, at the end of Baksechet. In Baksechet, just to this point, 4 lines from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. מדוע אומרים בסקול ולא בנקול, וזה לשוינוי? לכך נקרא בסקול, כלומר זה שנולד ונגזר מן השמיים כך, ולא נקרא בנקול, כי הבת מיוחסת יותר לצוילודה מן הבן. הבת is more offspring than a son. כי אף אגב שהבן נולד, also a son's born, מתייחס בעצמו לפועל, but he's on his own. אבל הבת מתייחסת בעצמו גם כן לתולדה. כי כל נקבה אינה פועלת עד שהבת היא תולדה לגמרי. Baskol says, Bas Ploni LePloni. A daughter is her father's daughter. A son, he's on his own.
He's a man.
What?
He's a man.
He's his own man. You see, a father can mefer the nedarim of his daughter. He can't mefer the nedarim of his son. A father can sell his daughter. He can't do it to his son. There's something about a shaykhs of a father. It's more shaykh, a daughter, to her father than a son to the father. A son's born like a daughter, of course, but he's born and he's already an independent creature. That's what a son is. Again, you see the lashon. Bas ploini leploini. Why don't you say ploini leploini? Or bas ploini leben ploini? Why the guy say it's called ploini and the girl says it's called bas ploini? Kachazeh. A daughter is a daughter. Right? Okay. So Rabbi say, here. So I would like to ask here, why here is the Torah called bas in this medrash?
Because can marry a bus.
I understand, but in the nimshal, you want to say because of the mashal works out great, but in the nimshal, the mashal was done for the nimshal, right? In the nimshal that you want to say HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah over to the Jewish people, why is it important to say that the Torah is his daughter?
Because so that the Torah can be wedded to.
In the nimshal, you're right. In the nimshal, the way we always look at Shavuos, what happened on Shavuos? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah. Wedded, not wedded, what's the nekuda?
They can become one.
And without saying a daughter, they can't become one? How do you understand Torah till now? Because it's a daughter? Okay, absolutely.
What's the question? Why does it have to be described as a child of the prophet?
Yes,
Not a child, a daughter.
a daughter.
It has to be a loss. It's for whatever reason the Torah is Lashon Nekeva.
And you could say it's Lashon Nekeva. Fine. But we want to say something more Geshmak here. You know what I mean? It's good. What you're saying is good. It's good. But that's like for balabatim that weigh 140 kilo. You know, because balabus gadol. Balabus shaman kaze. You know, and shalshudas eating herring because of balabus kaze. You guys are all slim and young. So, I don't know. It's my thing for me. You know. The truth is it B'chlal true that balabatim are dafka, they weigh more? Is it? I don't know. That's always. Rav Kadori's first story is not about balabas. And look how slim he is. And then look at Rabbi Lando. Look at I'm not makabel, but in the yeshiva it says balabos shaman. Do you ever heard the expression? No, you never heard it. The Israelis say it. Balabos shaman. It's lav dafka. אפשר להיות תלמיד חכם שמן, ואפשר להיות עם האורץ הזה, it could be anything. But anyway, so let's just sum up the questions that we have here. So Rabbi Michael, let's go over it. What do you say? What were the questions? I'm asking the Oilam. Question number 1? Very good. What's the Shachis de Barachas? I promise I'm not doing it to test you. I promise not. I'm just doing it that we should have for me, a clarity in Zikron. So what's the shaykhs between the nest of Nema Haravi to the Parechas? Ari, what was question number 2? Why was the menorah chosen to say this edus? To be an ed, there's a correlation between the ed and the edus, like the Maral said about the word Yud K. The letters Yud K will testify in the Yichus, because it's there anyway, by a Isha and a Isha. Fine. Question number 3 and 4 is going on the Medrash. Why did the Medrash say Mechira? Why did the Medrash say but? And it doesn't appear on the sheet, but I added Balpeh. What role does it play that these two men are kings? Okay. Elu HaSheilot. Good. So let's start with something that we already learned many times. You know, the word koiris bris. Nachon? It always goes together, these two words. Koiris bris. L'chura, it's an oxymoron. Right? You could look together. Sharing is caring. Oh, it does. Okay. Koiris is to separate. Bris is to put together. How come they go together, these opposites? It's opposites. The worst punishment is called koris, which means cut off. A bill of divorce is called sefer krisus. You know, Chazal say get, but the Torah doesn't call it get. Chazal call it sefer krisus. So what's koris bris? So Rashi and Chumash took care of it. Rebach, you remember how Rashi took care of it? Rashi in 2 places. In Bris Ben Absarim, and then La'avachah Bris. That what? Exactly. You cut the animal into 2. Nabach, poor animal, but that's what happens. And then the parties go between the pieces of the animal. I saw Rafutna explains that I would say tekes, that ceremony is because to say like the two parts of the animal were one, and like we were going to be one, we'll become one. That's because that. The Vilna Gaon has a different shot. On his commentary to Sefer Yetzirah, I would never get to it in this Gilgul on my own. I must be honest. The Biur HaGrua in Sefer Yetzirah, Ishkach. Okay, one day, Mirz Hashem, mistamana on this Gilgul, nipagesh. Bakadencia abaa. But Moshe always would quote this guy. Moshe Shapiro Zatzal. Here in Baksiyud. Here's the Gra. It's a commentary in Sefer Yetzirah Perek Aleph Mishlaches. Omalacha ma'u inyan shel bris, says the Goyen. I'll tell you what bris is all about. For who? Adam sheyesh lo ohev kinafsho. Let's say Reuven loves Shimon like himself. Shimon's his son, and Reuven, the father, loves Shimon like himself. He wishes that Shimon, his son, will separate from him, should be with him the whole time. I believe it won't happen. The son has his own life, he has his own family, he's going to live in a different country. It's just not going to happen. So what does the father do? He'll give him an object that his whole aspirations and desires are attached to it. So now the son's taking with him that object which is so precious to the father, and the father will always think about his son because he has such a chashuv project, such a chashuv object in his hands. Even though the son is taking away with him, nevertheless, kol machshavto shamu, the machshav of the noisin are there. Lashon brit hu haftacha. Here, haftacha doesn't mean promise, but means guarantee. They won't separate. וזהו עניין של קריסה, שקורס ממנו דובר הדבוק לוי ונויסה לו. It's a moiretika Goyen, guys. Moiretika Goyen. Mamash a Goyen for life. The Goyen's coming to explain, how do 2 people become one? How do 2 people become one? You know, according to any mathematical equation, 2 is not 1, and 1 is not 2. So how do 2 become 1? How do they become one? It's a question that mankind's struggling with since the days of Adam and Chava. Says the Goyen, by mutual sacrifice. But he may speak on one side. If one party takes something which is so precious to him, so dear to him, so valuable to him, and gives it to the other party, what happens is, so now the first party is invested in the other party as well. Because something which is so precious to him, he gave over to the other party. So now that other party is carrying him, the first side as well. And therefore, you could now attach and connect to other people because they're an extension of yourself. That's what the Gemara says. And what does it mean, kairos bris? You take something which is so precious to you, so you, that, so to speak, you cut it off yourself, and you give to the other party. And now that other party has something which is you. And as a result, you'll be able to connect to the other party because it's you again. Meaning, everyone's selfish. No one should take this personally. Everyone is selfish. So how do you connect to other people? By making part of your selfishness. They're part of you. So how do you make them part of you? So by a regular person, what's you? His Arba Amas and his children. Yafemod. What's a little bit beyond that? If he expands himself to other people, the people of the shul, the people of the kilo, whatever. I'm sorry? No, it doesn't have to be mutual. I'm just saying that that's the way how both parties should do. They're going to speak about one party. And meaning the simple understanding is when you're spreading yourself out, you're spreading yourself too thin. That's what people could say. But that was it. And when you hold everything to yourself, that means it's great. But the going saying it's the exact opposite. When you hold everything to yourself, your existence is a very narrow one, and other people are not part of it. How do you enable other people to be a part of it? So, Reb Shlomo, what's the Teretz? By giving them something which is so precious to you, right? But if you don't do it, so of course, who are people attached to? To their children. I told you, Chavah. I told my children already, who knows how many times, that if at my Levaya, they're going to say that he loved his children, I'm going to get up and make a mechla. I think it's such an insult to say that. Because cats love their kitten also. It shows nothing about a person if he loves his children. Zemare efes. Klum. Doesn't show avoida. It doesn't show altruistic. Klum. It's like saying he loved himself. That's all what it says. There's nothing to brag about if he loves himself. If he was involved with the Kehila, involved with the shul, involved in chesed projects, yafemod. But his children? Shkoyach. He's a cat. He's not less than a cat. Yafemod. Anyway, so the Goyen says, that's what it means. Bris says, I'll give you something which will guarantee our kesher. That even if you get me upset, I'm never going to forsake you because you have something of mine, which is me. I can't forsake myself. Right? It's a Goyen for life. It's a Goyen for life. What's this Medrash now coming to tell us then? I just want to finish this point. In light of the Goyen, what is this Medrash coming to tell us? A king and a daughter, and I can't let go of my daughter, and she's so precious to me. What should I do? Like Rabbi Shapiro would say, what's the sugya? What is this sugya of the Medrash? Give it a title. Okay, not everybody at once. Reb David. Tagid Masha Gishmak. Matomer. Give a captain, that's what it's called? Like a capture. What's a capture? You know, this whole medrash of a father and a daughter and a heen and a hair, and he tells his son-in-law, I'm so attached to her, and blah, blah. What's the capture? Krisis Bris. You hear him, Shlomo? You agree? It's Krisis Bris. So to speak, the pain that Hakadosh Baruch Hu went through, so to speak, by giving us his daughter. He can't let go of her. But he gave it to us. Why did Hakadosh Baruch Hu do that? If your daughter's so precious to you, just don't give her. So why did he do it? To make a bris with us. To guarantee the connection. You know what Hakadosh Baruch Hu is like saying? I'm going to give you something which is me. So even if you're going to make me upset one day, and you're going to misbehave, and you're not going to do what I want you to do, I'm never going to forsake you. You know why? Because you have my daughter.
You wanted to destroy Talisman a few times.
Well, only and through Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu will be the Hemshech. It's not a kasha. That's what it means. Brisavis. Right? So the Nakuda is that Hakadosh Baruch Hu purposely put himself in such a situation by saying, I'm going to give you something that will guarantee our relationship. I'm going to give you myself. Now, it's very painful to give yourself. That's an operation. And it's done without anesthesia. anesthesia, whatever the word is. Right? And it's done. Because that's what you do to be Karis Bris. The Medrash is bringing out the element of Karis Bris. Therefore, it's speaking about a daughter. A daughter means it hurts. What? Let's not go to that. I'm going to focus on this. Noach and the flood, we'll get into it another time. We'll get to it in a minute. At the end we'll talk. Bakasha. But let's focus on this. The Nakuda is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, she's my daughter. Guys, do you remember when your sisters got married? Oh, our daughters. I have only sons, so I can't experience. But I remember when my sisters got married. I have two sisters. So when they got married, of course it's a simcha. But there was something there, especially by my mother, that Adina and Naomi aren't going to be home anymore. They're not here anymore. They're leaving the house. Of course, it's great. I mean, what's the alternative? But it hurts. Again, I must say, for the siblings, it was kuloi revach. There was no pain whatsoever. It's revach gewaldig. Another room we could walk into without getting screamed, what are you doing in my room? It's gewaldig. We had no pain. We didn't experience any pain whatsoever. But I remember with my mother, my father the show, but my mother more. Okay, you come into the room the next morning, she's not there anymore. Now, of course, it's all good, but it brings a balchava. That's the Christmas priest that we're talking about here. So that for the Medrash purposely spoke about a daughter. Now, let's go a little bit weiter. Which Torah is the Medrash speaking about? Torah Shebiksav, Torah Shebal Peh, both, neither, what would you say? And here the mashal will be very helpful. Let me give was maybe a little bit of a hint. I'm sorry? Why?
Because that's given over to us.
Good. Because it's ours. It was given over to us. What's the main chiluk between Torah Shebiksav and Torah Shebal Peh, excluding that this is written and this is oral? We're the owners. Torah Shebal Peh, it's ours. You know, the famous Gemara is brought down here in Bakshid Aleph of Nitzchuni Bonai. The very famous Gemara, but we'll say that from this one base. The Abaskol came out and Rabbi Shua said, we're not listening. It's ours. HaKadosh Baruch Hu delegated authority when it comes to Torah Shebal Peh. Delegated authority to whom? To the Chachmei Yisrael. What they say goes. So just like by the mashal, Rabbi Yomi before was focusing on the mashal. A daughter that was in her Rishus Avia, and now she's Rishus Baila. So what's the parallel of a Torah that switched Rishuyos? Torah Shebal Peh. Torah Shebiksav we have zero authority over. Try to make one yud into a vav. A drop of ink. It's a Sefer Torah puzzle. We have zero authority over Torah Shebiksav. Efes. It's not ours. You can look into it, you can read it, but don't change it. Torah Shebal Peh, it's ours. It speaks about the things at this point that Tiferes Yaakov and Gittin, if you have time to look it up at the Akdama, it's such a good Akdama to learn before Shavuos, of what really happened in Shavuos, in Matan Torah. What really happened there. But the Medrash is speaking about that now the young king has an authority over his a wife. A husband has an authority over a wife. When I'm teaching girls, I got to be careful how to say that sentence. They do it together, but nevertheless, but here we can say the truth. Isha b'shus baila. Now let's do this mutual swapping of a ring. No, the person can say, don't do it. It's a kinyan. You know what Rabbanish told me when I was under the chuppah? Rabbanish Finkel? When you first hear it, you're shocked, but then you understand what he was. שיהיה לך דעת כמו שאתה קונה עגבניות במחנה יהודה. I promise that's what he told me. כמו עגבניות במחנה יהודה. And my wife heard it. זה לא היה טוב. But what he meant to say is you have to have das kinyan. Some people get emotional, partner for life. It's not, Chazal never said partner. Chazal said ishta k'gufay. So this medrash is bringing out the nekuda that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave over to Astor Shabal Peh, he cut off something of himself and he delegated authority to Am Yisrael, to Chachmei Yisrael. That's the sugya of this medrash. You know, Rabbi Shapiro Zatzal always would do it. On every Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, we learned it for 6 years. Every Mishnah he would ask. I'll give you an example. Kol shedat, kol shewach abrios necha imeno, ruach hamokim necha imeno. V'kol she'en ruach abrios necha imeno, ein ruach hamokim necha imeno. What's the sugya in this Mishnah? Is there any instruction here? Is it saying you should try to win a popularity contest? Ma sugya po? When it says also have a ratz mitzvah, have a borech ma'avera. You need a mitzvah. What's the sugya? Do mitzvahs and don't do averas. You need a mitzvah for that. Do mitzvahs and don't do averas. So Rabbi Yehuda, he always would ask, Ma sugya? What's the sugya here? What's the issue at stake? If people like you, that means Hashem likes you, and if people don't, that means Hashem doesn't. So what's the point? Try to do things that people should like you? So try to do things that Hashem should like you. Masugya. It's a great method how to get into Inyan. What's the sugya here? Right? So Rabbi say, what's the sugya in this medrash? What's the sugya in this medrash? The Krisa bris that HaKadosh Baruch Hu went through when he gave over to us Shabal Peh. That's what it's about. And again, if we say, now let's go to page 3, you'll see it's a Meferish Gemara. The Medrash is saying it its way, the Gemara is saying it's another way, but it's a Meferish Gemara on page 3. Omar Rabbi Yochanan. In Baksh's bed, the top box on page 3. Lo koras HaKadosh Baruch Hu brisim Yisrael, ela b'shvil dvarim Shabal Peh. The Krisas bris was done on Torah Shabal Peh. Shenemar, ki al pi advarim ha'elu karti tchabrit v'et Yisrael. A Meferish Gemara. The Krisas bris was done on Torah Shabal Peh. What does the Gemara mean? Bris, the Torah Shabbat itself is called bris. V'akach et sefer bris. But the Krisas bris is on Torah Shabal Peh. Mazeh? What does that mean? In light of what we're learning tonight, what does that mean? B'diuk. What the God explained. I remember, it's just now, I flashed now in my mind. And now I remember it. When Moshe Shapiro Zatzal read this medrash, the first time I remember it was in his home still, and he said, no, we learned the Goin. When we learned the Goin, he said, no, that's what he mumbled to himself. When we learned the Goin in the Sefer Yetzirah, about Krisas bris, and then, meaning, I gave you something which I can't live without. Right? Mimele, Rabbi say, maybe once we discover that that's the real message here in this medrash, can anybody tell me, we understand why it says but, can anybody tell me why it says mechira? Mechira means it's yours now. It doesn't belong to me anymore. Nesina, it brings some beloved Afka. It could be, there's no strings attached when you say mechira. I gave it to you, it's yours. It's not mine anymore. You're the owner. That's what mechira brings home. That message. And since the whole idea of the medrash is exactly to say this point, right? That's the idea of the medrash, to bring out this nekuda, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu delegated authority. That's the comment it's called here mechira. Mechira means it's yours. Shalom. Okay? I'm sorry? Matana could be a matana not lahachzir. I don't know. There could be all kinds of things. Mechira means no strings attached. Rabbi say, what's that? We need something. You need anything? Okay. Rabbi said, why do you think? What role does it play that both men are kings? I'm sorry. Equal. Okay, and if it's two men, they're also equal to each other.
King is the binding on the thing, you can give it, and the other king is...
But there's something else more about kings. It's kings, first of all, it's authority. And Ein Shnei Malachim B'Keser Echad. when it's this king, it's not this king. Kings are mutually exclusive. That's also the idea here. If it's two people, okay, we'll be partners. No, kings aren't partners. Ain't shnei malachim shamshim b'kesar echad. You can't have two kings in one place. The idea of kings is showing it was my authority till now, and now it stops being my authority, and it's going to be your authority, and which is by you. She's not by me anymore, because kings are mutually exclusive. And it's just mamash pshat, what we say. That's what come the mashal here, is the kings. B'tach. Now, boys, let me get back there. We'll skip a little bit because there's another Geshmaka point here. I just want to make sure we'll finish the Nakuda. Why do you think the menorah was chosen to say this testimony? What does the menorah represent? Torah Sheba'al Peh. What's the source for that? There's an emek davar, but it's way before the emek davar. But give a look at Bakshi Zayin. HaKoach HaNifla shenikra Talmud nitan koach HaMenorah. ועל כן בבית שני שרבו הישיבות והעמידו תלמידים הרבה להוויית רבי ורבא שהוא התלמוד, משום מה נתחזק כוח המנורה על ידי נס Hanukkah. Hanukkah has to do with the menorah because the war was about Torah Sheba'al Peh. The menorah tachliса lepilpula shel Torah, v'hainu Torah Sheba'al Peh. The person, we'll take this meal just as a given. The menorah represents the light and the wisdom of Torah Sheba'al Peh. On Hanukkah, that the struggle was about that, the Nes happened with the menorah. That's how everyone explains. Since meaning what has come out? Why is there Shechina b'Yisrael? What would you say, guys? Why is there Shechina b'Yisrael? What necessitates Shechina b'Yisrael in light of what we're learning today? Meaning we have a Kadosh Baruch Hu's daughter, and since she's by us and not by him, since she left him, he has to come to us. It's like a little oxymoron, because she's not by him, so Hashem's by us. Meaning, because the Kadosh Baruch Hu's daughter is not by not by the father anymore. Rather, where's the daughter now? Under the auspices and the reshus of Yisrael, the husband, and so Kadosh Baruch Hu says she's not with me anymore. The fact that we have it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, she's not with me anymore. I got to go see where she is. Oh, she's by Am Yisrael, so I'll dwell amongst Am Yisrael. So what makes Shechina? This the says Meferish in the Sivatar. I just didn't have time to bring it down. Meferish. What is Mechayev Shechina b'Yisrael? But what's Mechayev? What is Mechayev Shechina b'Yisrael in light of this Medrash? The HaKadosh Baruch Hu's daughter is by us. You know, in the 6th-day word, Matagur said, Harabayit be'adenu. You know the famous expression? Habat shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'adenu. We have a HaKadosh Baruch Hu's daughter by us, and she's not by her father anymore. So if the father wants to see her, he has to come to us, because we're the ones that have it. So what's Mechayev Ashra Shechina b'Yisrael? That the daughter is by us and not by him. Let's be even more specific, that the daughter left her father's rishus. Right? That's Mechayev. Can anybody now tell me why this? So why is the menorah the one to say Shechina Shel b'Yisrael? Because Torah Sheba'al Peh, our ownership, it's our ownership that brings Shechina. Can we say it that way, guys? Would you agree? That our ownership over HaKadosh Baruch Hu's daughter is what necessitates HaKadosh Baruch Hu to dwell amongst us. What shows our ownership? The menorah, which is in the Heichal, on our side of the court, not in Kodesh HaKadoshim. It's on our side, and it shows our ownership. How does the menorah show it specifically? 7 candles, it's going to get Shiva Sugi Chochma, whatever the reason is. Okay, can anybody wrap it up now? Why is all this a tribute to the Parochet? And whoever says this good, I wanted to say, but you're going to get it. And don't fight with me. Whoever says it gets 10 pounds. Don't worry, I can give another 10 pounds. I have investments inside your river, guys. I'm okay. Ain't Shumbaya. Shumbaya. What does paruchas mean? Give a look, Rabbi, on page 4. Literally, what does paruchas mean? Give a look in Baksut Tess. V'nasata es ha-paruchas tachas ha-krosim v'yavia Hashem מבית הפרוכס העונדו והבדילה הפרוכס לכם בין הקודש ובין קודש הקודשים. What's the role of the paruchas? Havdalah. Says Rashi 2 psukim earlier. Paruchas. Look what Rashi says in Max Chav. Loshon mechitzahu. Mechitza means a divider. Ubeloshon chachamim, and the way the chachamim call it, pargod. Dover hamavdil ben hamelech uben ha'am. What does the paruchas show? Inside is the melech's rishus. It stops here. What would have been if there wouldn't have been a paruchas in the Mishkan? So the whole Mishkan would have been Kodesh Kodashim. There's nothing that would stop it. It would spread all over. But comes a paruchas and says Gvul lefanecha. You ever saw the expression Gvul lefanecha? What does it mean? A border in front of you. What does the paruchas say? The rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu stops here. The menorah, which is on this side, is out of the rishus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's thanks to the paruchas that we have this Hashma Shechina. Because the paruchas is saying, Atkan. And by that making the menorah on our side of the pitch, not on the Kodesh Baruch Hu's side. What necessitates the Shechina? That it's not by her father anymore, but it's on our side. Who said that the father's rishus stops? The paruchas. So isn't it gewaldig that all of this is a tribute to the paruchas? And that's what the Medrash means. The Rav says the menorah is standing nearby the paruchas. What does it mean? It nourished its essence from that paruchas. It's thanks to the paruchas that you have a menorah. This is sushi together with, how is it called, the meat stuff? Shwama. How do you pronounce it? There's an R there, right? Shwama. There's an R there or no R?
Yeah.
There's R. You don't pronounce it so much. Shwama. I'm telling you, it's sushi with shwama together. So you'll eat it. It's fish and meat, so you can make it half sick. It's parachas in between. B'diuk. Very good. You know, like you do all kinds of simanim on the table, right? It's thanks to the parachas that Shechina showed Yisrael. Because if it wouldn't have been for the parachas, let's just go through the steps. So the daughter is still by Hashem. So why does Hashem have to dwell by us? What made the fact that the daughter is by us and not by him? The paruchas show the paruchas is mavdi ben hamelech ben ha'am. That's what Rashi said, and the melech stops from inside Kodesh Kodashim till the paruchas is the melech's domain.
That's what the paruchas Eidos, because it shows that.
The miracle. Again, the word Eidus according to Rashi is Shechina Shel B'Yisrael. Eidus
It enables the Shechina. Because of the paruchas, it enables
B'diuk. That's exactly the point. You know, there's B kosher, and there's B. You know, this is what they say B. Do you know the long B? Do you ever notice? I grew up in Israel, so I know this stuff. I grew up as a kid, so I remember when I saw B kosher, I said, oh, we say B'diuk. They say B kosher. So, ain't never done it. But you're going to take this. If not, I'm going to make a machal. You said it B'diuk. You said it B'diuk. Boys, I'm telling you, you come to the shir, you're going to make a lot of money. I promise you. You're going to see how many people are stuck going. Cash on delivery, let's stop. Do they have that expression here in Lincoln? Cash on delivery? They do. I'm sorry? That's right. Rabbi said the Maharal has another pshat, but with that we're going to stop here. And also it comes out, meaning the way we're learning today, what does the paruchas show? The krisa part. He has another hesber that the paruchas will show the bris part. But you take this with you. I have another one here. You know, I can email it to Raboch. Bakasha. But if anyone wants it, Bakasha. And Chevre, Ani Choshev, it's about maybe, I'm sure it still needs to be hammered out and worked out upon, but Zeh Mashkatuv Po. Mashkatuv Po is, look at the kesher that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has with us, that he invested in us something which is so him that he'll never be able to forsake us. Never. I mean, could. Meaning, these are the rules that he made up. So I'm never going to let go of you. Yisrael. And the question of Mark Twain, the immortality of the Jewish people, this is the answer. You know how come we're going to live forever? Because we have a Kodesh Baruch Hu's daughter. We have him with us. He lives forever, so as a nation will live forever. It's mamash pashut b'etzem, Rabbi say. So we should all be zoiche. As you know, Parshas Emor, there's a lot to say on Emor. It's a good pun, no? Emor. What? You know, I see the chavah don't cut my jokes, and I see my boys in the morning don't cut my jokes. Maybe I'm the problem. אני מתחיל לחשוב, אולי אני הבעיה. I think it's my great jokes and that people aren't laughing. אולי לא. I'm sorry?
יש הרבה מה לומר על אמור,
It goes better. Yeah, בבקשה. You want to say something, Shlomo? You... Okay. בסדר גמור, בסדר.